All right, with holiday travel just weeks away, health officials are sounding the alarm for booster shots. In fact, one company in particular is claiming extra protection against the Omicron variant. And a fallen officer has officially gotten a street named after him in his honor. More on the legacy of Officer Stephen Carr coming up. First, I want to say thank you so much for joining us for your 5 News at Noon. I'm Ruben Diaz. Now, the Josh Duggar child pornography trial is beginning to enter its final stages today. In fact, closing arguments began this morning after both sides rested their cases yesterday. 5 News reporter Zoe Henry is live outside the federal courthouse in Fayetteville. She's been following this case all week long, joins us now live with what she's heard so far in those arguments. Zoe?
Ruben, we started this morning with the prosecution doing its initial closing remarks, and they walked us through all of the evidence that's been presented in the past 7 days. Now, both computer forensic analysts from both sides, the defense and the prosecution, said that someone had to physically be behind that computer to download the software onto this dealership computer that eventually downloaded this child pornography on that same computer. Now, they say they know this because of a USB that was plugged into the computer, and you can't plug a USB in remotely. They say it had to be physically done in person. Now, they also talk about what the defense might have come back with. They've been arguing this entire time that there was remote access. There was possibility of remote access, that Joshua Duggar was not the person behind the computer, or was there someone behind the computer at all? And the prosecutor says that there's evidence that there was bookmarks on this side of the computer, the software, that means someone would constantly go back to these websites. And that the remote access isn't consistent with that evidence. Now, the defense is up now. They're leaning on reasonable doubt. The computer analyst that they brought in says she has 6 reasons why there's reasonable doubt in this case. Now, I'll explain some to you. There's no router for evidence. They couldn't look at the router or anything like that. There's also no evidence of pornography on his personal computer. Now, I'm going to head up to hear the rest of what the defense has to say, and possibly hear from the prosecution again. I'm live in Fayetteville, covering news where you live. Zoe Henry, 5 News.
All right, thanks a lot, Zoe. We will continue to follow this trial, of course, as it progresses, and we'll have another live report for you today on our 5 News First at 4, and as soon as anything else warrants. All right, let's take a quick look outside. Right now, it's a nice looking day outside. We had a couple of chilly days earlier. Taking a live look in the River Valley meteorologist Tyler Moore joining us now with a quick first look at what you can expect for your afternoon. Hey, Tyler.
Hey, Ruben. Yeah, nice out there right now. It was a little cool this morning. Not too bad, though, as all that sunshine starting to warm us up. We're now hitting the 50s for a lot of us. Do have some upper 40s right now in Bentonville at 49 still, but everyone else is climbing into the low to middle 50s. That sunshine really helping us warm up nicely. Here's a live look across Bentonville. You can also see lots of blue skies. Notice there are a couple of high clouds that are trying to mix in. We'll see more of those start to work in towards this evening. So plenty of sunshine still for today, but there are a few high clouds off to the west that are slowly going to work their way on in by later on this evening. But you can see for the rest of the day, temperatures continue to work their way throughout the 50s, even pushing towards 60 across most of the River Valley. And we'll get some more cloudier skies to build in into the overnight hours, but that will keep our temperatures on the mild side as you wake up for tomorrow morning. A lot of us will be in the 30s and 40s, so pretty nice start to your Thursday. But for the rest of the day, looking good. Plenty of sunshine, temperatures in the upper 50s across northwest Arkansas, right around 60 for the River Valley. This warming trend continues over the next couple of days. I'll break that down coming up in just a bit. Ruben?
All right, thanks a lot, Tyler. Appreciate that. Now, as millions of Americans are getting ready for the holidays, Pfizer says a 3rd dose of its vaccine is actually necessary to protect against the new Omicron variant. Pfizer just released some new data today showing a booster dose of its vaccine provides more protection against the newest variant compared to just the initial 2 doses. Doctors think it could be the dominant strain in the U.S. by next month. So far, though, data indicates this variant may cause less severe cases compared to Delta, but it could be easier to spread.
So if it's half as aggressive and twice as contagious, that means that you're going to get significant numbers of hospitalizations.
Now, on Capitol Hill, a group of lawmakers is working to block a Biden administration rule. Now, the rule would require millions of Americans to get the vaccination or take weekly COVID tests. The vote is largely considered symbolic as courts are already challenging that requirement. Arkansas health officials are warning that we could be headed into a third surge of COVID-19 infections. This as hospitalizations and COVID-related deaths are on the rise since Thanksgiving. Governor Asa Hutchinson addressing the situation during his weekly briefing on the pandemic. Now, according to the governor, experts at UAMS are keeping a close eye on the holiday season. Now, they're projecting any rise in COVID cases will be seen by February or even March. Right now, the governor, though, feels optimistic with increases in vaccination rates and booster dose availability.
I'm encouraged by the fact that with the vaccination rate, I have some level of confidence we're going to be able to keep the hospitalizations down, and we're going to be much lower in terms of where we are going to be during this winter month. But we will see, and it's based upon everyone's behavior.
Now, the governor did acknowledge the fact that the Omicron variant is out there and could eventually reach Arkansas and how that could impact the current study. So far, though, no Omicron variant cases have been detected here in the state. Instead, we are dealing with the Delta variant predominantly. Let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers over the last 24 hours, kind of show you where we stand. 932 new cases in the last 24 hours. That puts us over the 534,000 mark when it comes to COVID cases. After a couple of days of active cases dropping, we did see the cases rise by about 250. So now we have about 7,400 active cases here in the state, people actively fighting the virus right now. Unfortunately, we did add 24 more COVID-19 related deaths to the overall death toll. Hospitalization rose by 4, and ventilator use is on the rise again as well. 85 people now currently using ventilators. Arkansas could soon see a big drop in their state income taxes. I bet that caught your attention, right? This morning, the Senate passed a bill that's actually headed to the House. It's Bill SB 1 that aims to reduce income tax while also still allowing the state to build and reserve money. Governor Asa Hutchinson wants lawmakers to pass Arkansas's largest tax cut in state history. The cut would equal an estimated $500 million in tax relief once the plan is fully implemented. According to Roby Brock with our content partner Talk Business and Politics, the governor wants to reduce the state's individual tax rate. The top tax rate right now is at 5.9%. Now, under his vision, a plan then would reduce it to 4.9% over the next 3 years.
We have over $1 billion surplus. We have another $1.2 billion in what's going to be called a catastrophic reserve fund. So there's really a lot of room to reduce taxes right now if that's the policy of the state, which it is for the governor.
All right, now the House and Senate are expected to look into several bills concerning this matter later today. Congressional leaders have reached a deal to lift the nation's debt limit. It's good news, right? This avoids the deadline that was going to be set up next week when the country was at risk of defaulting on their loans. The agreement allows Democrats to increase the borrowing authority without any votes from Republicans. It's likely going to avoid another last-minute rush to avoid a federal default. Congress approved a $480 billion increase in October, but the Treasury Department said it was only enough to get everybody through December the 15th, which is next week. So the debt increase approval will now also cover deficit funding that has already been approved in the past. As tensions build between the Ukraine and Russia, the Biden administration is trying to find a diplomatic solution to this crisis. But U.S. military advisors are also involved in this process in case diplomacy fails. CBS's Ian Lee reports.
These are the signs of growing tensions between Ukraine and Russia. Ukrainian jets perform flight drills for U.S. military advisors. They've been on the ground to help boost Ukraine's air defenses and inspect their air force. This comes as Russia builds up its forces along the border. Recent satellite photos show tens of thousands of Russian troops deployed near Ukraine, poised, U.S. intelligence officials fear, for a possible invasion. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky vowed this week to fight off any Russian aggression with whatever it takes, including U.S. military hardware, like the Javelin anti-tank missile systems. On Tuesday, President Biden warned Russia's president of the consequences of an invasion, including possibly more military equipment for Ukraine, along with tough economic sanctions. A former American ambassador to Ukraine expects officials will be watching for signs of a Russian retreat.
The biggest sign would be, does the Russian military begin to draw back away from Ukraine? But also, and perhaps more quickly, do you begin to see a change in the rhetoric coming out of Moscow, which has been pretty over the top the last week?
As winter sets in, Ukraine digs in, while hoping any roar from above comes from friendly jets. Ian Lee, CBS News.
All right, the Fayetteville City Council voted unanimously to rename a stretch of road in the city in honor of Officer Stephen Carr. Now, the vote happened 2 years to the day after he was killed in the line of duty, clearing the way for the city to honor Officer Carr. Now, part of Porter Road will now become Officer Stephen Carr Boulevard. The Memorial Road runs in front of the site of where the city's new police department is going to be built between Dean Street and Mount Comfort Road.
Certainly your unwavering support of this resolution, Council, would be heartfelt by me, by my officers, and certainly by the Carr family. And I just thank everyone in our community for all the support they've given us.
You'll remember Officer Carr was killed in 2019 after he was shot outside of the current Fayetteville police station. The gunman was later shot and killed by 2 police officers. The approved ordinance aims to remember Officer Stephen Carr for serving the community as a model patrol officer. All right, so the programs are now popping up to help patients with long-term COVID. Coming up, we're going to talk about how they're helping patients get the comprehensive treatment they need.
And we have some beautiful weather continuing for today through Friday before another low pressure system and cold front brings some rain chances and cooler temperatures towards the weekend. I'll break that down in your full forecast after this.